I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly. And I hope that you are having the time of your life. But think twice. That's my only advice. Come on now, who do you think you are? Bless your soul. You really think you're in control? Well, I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. Just like me. My heroes had the heart to lose their lives out on a limb. And all I remember is thinking, I want to be like them. Ever since I was little, it looked like fun. If there's no coincidence, I've come. And I can die when I'm done. But maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you're crazy. Maybe we're crazy.
That's right. You are crazy. That song dedicated to Caleb Williams out there who wants a little piece of the NFL team that drafts him because you are out of your mind. So we got them boys getting it done in LA this past Monday night. We're going to break down that. Obviously, we're going to talk about Caleb Williams wanting a piece of his NFL team. Expectations for Cowboys moving forward. We got Jags Saints to preview. We got MLB playoffs to talk about, or if there really is a playoff at this point. And the NFL to Spain, Brazil. Ooh, you know Jeffrey's going to have some hot takes on the old Brazil, as we did in Fast and Furious. Jeff, how are we doing today? I understand we had a little bit of a rough start to the morning. A few, issues that tend to pop up here a little bit, but we've regrouped. Looks like we're doing better and ready to rock and roll today.
Yeah, no, we don't advocate for animal abuse here on this show.
Absolutely not.
However, I did wake up this morning and rolled out, and I had asked my kids multiple times the past few days to please pick up this area. After they had a party on Saturday, it's been a little bit of a mess, and I just wanted to tidy it up a little bit, and they did not follow my instructions. And I walk out, and there's a piece of wood or something that has been chewed all over everywhere by the dog that was left there by the kids. So, yeah, a little frustrated this morning, but...
it's going to be a nice little talking to later on when they get home from school. Hey, kids, how you doing?
I'll be picking them up today.
Yeah. Dad's going to be in the pickup line. At least you use the pickup line and don't drive through people's neighborhoods, so I want to give you a shout-out for that.
I hate those people. I think those people are selfish assholes.
Who's worse, the shopping cart people or the pickup and neighborhood people? Or are they the same?
I think the pickup in the neighborhood people. The shopping cart people, there are certain times where it would be tough to return your shopping cart. However, I feel like there should be a little bit of foresight in terms of, okay, well, I'm going to have to return my shopping cart and I have maybe a small child that I have with me at the grocery store. So let me try to get the closest parking spot that I can to the shopping cart return, as opposed to just parking wherever. And then, like there could be a little bit more planning ahead, where as opposed to the people who go into neighborhoods and have their child as walkers who leave school to then go walk to their car and completely clog traffic and do the whole thing. That's premeditated.
It is,
right. So if we're talking about murder, right, premeditated murder is way worse than manslaughter.
I couldn't agree more. I laid on the horn as I was pulling into my wonderful community yesterday when high school was getting out. There's obviously cars lined up on both sides of the streets waiting to pick up their little brats that walk across Sidell, not in a crosswalk, but they walk in and they actually have burrowed through the bushes where they've created an opening now to walk through said bushes. But this one was a special idiot. Not only that, he goes to pull in on my street and just stops dead in the middle of the road to pick up his child. So of course I just laid on the horn. I went around him. I cut him off. I gave him the finger. I probably went a little bit hard,
Escalated
right?
a little bit more than you should have, for sure.
But when I deal with it it's to the point now where we don't even leave our house at certain times on this. But whatever. I digress. Let's get into it. We have sports. TJ, welcome in. Buffington, welcome in. First of all, TJ, there's no way that you're getting the number one pick because I don't know if you've seen the Chicago Bears lately, but there's no team probably worse than them. And if there is a team, it's the Carolina Panthers. And guess what? We own that pick as well. So get in line, and you can give Caleb Williams part of your franchise if you want, because I sure as fuck don't. Let's get into the Cowboys.
I know real quick. I know you hate the Bears and they suck. And
I don't hate the Bears. I hate what the Bears do to me.
However, 1 o'clock game, the Raiders coming from Vegas to Chicago
with Tyson Bagent.
They are catching, yeah, but it might be Aiden O'Connell or Brian Hoyer at quarterback for the Raiders.
I don't see that as a difference.
Really?
I don't. You gotta. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. Let's get down there. Let's talk a little bit about the Marcus Buffington and your Cowboys. Your boy was rooting for you. You pulled it off. You came through and you got the big win there. Cowboys 20, Chargers 17. Now, to me, this was one of the things where Chargers and the Herbert came out and looked like they had looked flatter than a tire on the side of I-4 here. Justin Herbert looked atrocious yesterday. I just don't know what to say about the Chargers at this point. That team seems to be like they have absolutely zero synergy. Austin Eckler cannot run the ball at the moment. I don't know what's happening from his breakout season a year ago, whether that high ankle sprain is still affecting him. I don't really know. But this Chargers have a serious problem running the ball. And as you have a throw-happy quarterback like Justin Herbert, you need to be able to run the ball to open up the field downfield. And that's just not happening. The Cowboys did what they did enough to win the game. This was not an impressive win by any means, I don't feel like. But it was just the step to kind of get the Cowboys a little bit of momentum going into the next week. I still think Mike McCarthy is probably one of the most overrated coaches that are on the field right now. Some of his game management skills still come into play every single game. But the biggest thing I have over here is Brandon Staley. And I think we can agree he's firmly on the hot seat now. And I know Jeffrey has had quite a lot to say about Mr. Staley over the few years. So I look forward to your take here.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, you were given the keys to the Golden Kingdom, and you've shit the bed with them. So, look, my question is who is going to be the next head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers? And to me, it shouldn't go to anybody other than Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. I think the job that he has done has been incredible. I think he should definitely be a candidate as soon as Eberflus gets fired for the Bears as well, too. He should definitely be their first call. Second call the Bears should make would be Harbaugh at Michigan, but we'll get there in a minute. Listen, you get draft Caleb Williams, bring in Harbaugh.
Dude, we are not talking about this right now. We are not on the Bears. We're talking about the LA Chargers. Okay?
Yeah,
we're talking about the LA Chargers. This is supposed to be a smooth Wednesday for me. You're not going to do this to me on a Wednesday.
Here's my problem with Staley too, is that like you're supposed to be a defensive guy and your defense stinks. You completely mismanage time at the end of the games. If there's anybody worse at mismanaging time at the end of games than Mike McCarthy, it's probably Brandon Staley. Completely just no sense of awareness whatsoever. I thought this game, although I didn't get to see a lot of it because I was getting crushed at work once again, but I listen, it's good for the Cowboys. I'm glad they won. They needed a win, especially going into the bye this week. They needed a win. They needed some momentum. They needed a lot of, a lot of goodwill. Otherwise, the noise in that locker room was just continue to grow and grow and grow. And you're going to talk about hot seat. Whoever lost this game was going to be on the hot seat because McCarthy is squarely on the hot seat as well too, especially from Jerry Jones. So, listen, the Chargers, they're such an up and down team that I obviously I liked them on Monday. They didn't cover. They didn't win. But I'm going to like them again against Kansas City on the road, catching 5.5 points this week, just because the number's going to be good. So, yeah, I don't know. It's like a drug that I can't quit. Sucks.
Well, I'm going to help you a little bit here because I don't know if we take a team that you say is coached like shit against a team that we know is not coached like shit and is the reigning Super Bowl champions at home. But that will be something that we will discuss. TJ, we are not talking about the Bears today, okay? We are not talking about the Bears, well, at this moment. It's Wednesday. I need a day off. I need one day of Chicago freedom to not talk about the Chicago Bears.
Caleb, part owner of the Bears, Tyson would turn it down.
I mean, it's oh my God, dude. Here we go. You guys are gonna do this to me. Like, I'm just trying to have a nice show here, talk a little bit for a half an hour, turn it over to the golf boys, and enjoy my Wednesday without having an issue today. And yet here we are. So let's move on. So Cowboys, let's talk about what are our expectations moving forward for the Cowboys. I didn't see anything on this game that makes me think, whoa, the Cowboys are back. It makes me think that this team is still just a disenfranchised team that has no identity. You also had CeeDee Lamb coming out, reiterating Jamar Chase saying, I'm always open as well. I mirror him completely. Okay, bro. Okay. I mean, I don't know what do you want us to do with that? Does that mean that Dak just doesn't get you the ball? Does that mean Dak is a bad quarterback? What exactly are you trying to say like that? That to me doesn't build a franchise cohesiveness. That just tells you, hey, I'm doing my job, but other people are not. Do with that what you will. Not a good look. But I think we can all agree that from Jerry Jones down, the Cowboys have just never been in more shambles in recent memory. You got the win. I will say Dak actually played like we've seen Dak play in previous years. He was running the ball. He had great success scrambling. I'm sorry. Yeah, he had a couple really nice scrambles, throwing the ball on the run. And the thing that really surprised me is afterwards they talked about, I think it was Jerry Jones that talked about this, saying that he had a good game rushing, but we don't plan on using that. That's not something that we want to utilize. And I'm just like, okay. You basically probably won the game because of Dak's legs. He had the 20-yard scamper in, and as somebody that missed a $2,000 underdog parlay by Tony Pollard not having a rushing touchdown, that was very frustrating, especially on the 2-yard line. But anyway, we won't talk about that. Let's talk about Dak's legs and the things that he was able to do. So you see this. You see the gaps that this opened up. You see how it also stretched the offense with CeeDee Lamb and other receivers because now we have to spy on Dak. We can't just let that linebacker sit in the middle. And then Jerry Jones comes out and said, yeah, that's great, but we're not going to use it. I don't know, man. It seems to me like the Dallas Cowboys are just I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just they're winning in spite of themselves, I think, right now.
I can tell you right now, Cowboys were my pick to win this division, actually. I thought that they would be much better, much improved. Now when I look at their schedule and I look at who they have left, coming off the bye, they'll have the Rams, the Eagles. Then they go on a little run, right, where we're going to hype the Cowboys back up again because they're going to have the Giants, the Panthers, the Commanders, and the Seahawks. Then they're going to finish up with Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions. That's going to be a murderer's row. By that time, you're going to be trying to fight for a wild card at that point. And then you finish up with the Commanders as well too. So yeah, I mean, I don't think the schedule's doing them any favors. Now, some of those games are at home, but to play at Buffalo in December, and then at least you get at Miami. So at least it's not going to be too cold. But I just don't think this team is built for the cold like that. I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. So listen, tough times ahead. I would not expect Mike McCarthy to be back as the head coach of this football team next year.
Do the Cowboys still make the playoffs?
At 9-8? Maybe.
Dum dum dum.
I don't know. Well, it's honestly that's going to have a lot to do with the NFC South, and how those teams are going to perform. So, how much are they going to beat up on the Panthers, and who's the cream that's going to rise to the crop, the cream of the crop of that division? There could be two teams out of the NFC South that make it.
You know, I can also say, you know, we're talking about the cream of the crop, you know, rising out of the NFC South. Well, let me just tell you that turds also float. Mm-hmm. So a turd could float up there as well and make it in. And we all know who I'm talking about. We all know. So we'll see what happens. But Buff, congratulations, big win for the boys.
Big shout out to Buff too. Big congratulations. He won our pick'em contest that we're in every week. So Buff, I have seen you texting me. I apologize for not getting back to you. Life's been crazy right now, and I'm sorry. I've been a bad friend. So
I don't think I've ever gotten that apology out of Jeff. So I would take it and run. Or maybe he just doesn't care about your boy. I don't know. But let's move it on. We got the Thursday night football game coming up. We got Jags Saints. Trevor Lawrence, the big question mark here. Trevor Lawrence, the big question mark here. Is he going to play? And if so, which Jags team are we going to show up? Which Saints team are we going to see show up? We talked about this a little bit in the pre-show in regards to we've seen a really, really stout Saints defense and offensive team, and then we've seen a shit team. We've seen a really good I don't know if we actually have seen a really good Jacksonville team, to be honest with you. We've seen a very mediocre team in Jacksonville beat up on the Colts with the run game outside of Trevor Lawrence's arm. And then we've seen a really bad Jags team. So my question is, even if Trevor Lawrence does play, so let's just assume that he's going to play. The last report that I saw said that, you know, he was expected to be back by Sunday. I will look at it as I turn it over to Jeff. But let's just say he does play. That Trevor Etienne in that run game is absolutely producing great yards, opening up. They're able to run and pound the ball. The Saints defense, though, has shown up in big moments. But then they've also done. This is just one of those games to me. It just feels like I have no idea which team is showing up from either side. The spread is 1.5 because it's in New Orleans. We all know how hostile that environment can be in the Dome in New Orleans. The Jags just look to me like a team still trying to find its identity. As you pointed out, the Ridley connection just still isn't there. Even Ingram, man, Evan Ingram still hasn't gotten the explosiveness that we've seen of the previous years. Now, of course, last year they were playing from their lives a lot. They were from behind a lot. This year, they're actually a little bit of ahead. So this gameplay is a little bit different. But I mean, I just kind of throw my hands up in the air here and say, I can't pinpoint a certain thing here. I know that you, as a heavy investor in the Jaguars offense this year in fantasy football, are looking to see a little bit more spark out of that offense. And going into New Orleans, it's going to be a tough call.
Yeah, you know, there was a few things that I saw from New Orleans last week that kind of intrigued me. The usage of Taysom Hill in the passing game. You know, normally Taysom comes in and he's just kind of gadget play guy, but Juwan Johnson has been out the past few weeks. And for Taysom to catch 7 balls last week, I thought was pretty important to me. And if you're talking about fantasy numbers, look, tight end's kind of a wasteland right now, right? You don't have a lot to go on. And you're talking about a guy who's going to get targets and he's going to get red zone carries. Like, sign me up for that. So
which I saw you did.
I did pick Taysom Hill up in a few leagues because listen, New Orleans in October, in that dome is just different, man. Like the way that the fans are, and you know, whatever the voodoo, I don't know, whatever. But it's just different. If I was the Jags in this situation, personally for me, you're talking about your franchise, and your franchise is Trevor Lawrence. Send him for one game. It's not a divisional game. Let him rest. You're gonna get 10 days off, and that's somebody who the only quarterback I have in the big league is Trevor Lawrence. But it is what it is. I think you have to look out for your team and the best situation for your team. So yeah, for me, I'm benching Trevor Lawrence. Give me the Saints tomorrow night. I just think the way that their defense has still played really well. You know, they still turned CJ Stroud over. They got a lot of pressure on him. It's just Derek Carr is the worst red zone quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Well, I don't know if the stats will prove that, but we'll look that up. And this is just breaking news on the Under 4 fame. Anthony Richardson scheduled out
for the year.
Out for the year. So that makes both quarterbacks that I drafted both on season-ending IR, and the quarterback that I traded for is doubtful for possibly weeks. He could possibly also have surgery on his hand. I mean, what a great year for quarterbacks for your boy over here. AR. I mean, we've seen we talked about this in the combine. Jeff was high on AR in the combine, and he did have the intangibles. My biggest question was what I saw at the University of Florida, being surrounded by NFL talent, NFL coaches. Would they be able to bring him along? They absolutely have. They have pulled out his intangibles to make him one of the superstar rookie quarterbacks of this league. However, we're going to have to figure out a way to keep him healthy. First, the concussion. Now we're going to do season-ending surgery, which we never did expect the Colts to get there anyway, right? We never expected. They were outperforming everything between that Colts defense, which has shown up out of the complete darkness, to Anthony Richardson exceeding expectations as well. So I think the future is definitely bright for Indianapolis. Jonathan Taylor's got to be scratching his head a little bit, I would think, but probably not, because he got the bag, and he's probably, what is he, the highest paid running back now? At $13.5 million or something of that nature. So, I mean, he got his bag. But, in terms of competing and a running back shelf life, I think you want to be on one of those teams that's going to compete. Obviously, the Colts are not. Hopefully, AR has a quick and healthy surgery and is back next year, healthier than ever. And I promise AR, I can't promise. I'll try not to draft you next year to not do this to you. But I can't make any promises. So,
as much shit as we've given Jim Irsay for the way that he handled the Jonathan Taylor situation and other things like that, this is a owner that this is the absolute correct move.
Absolutely.
Listen, shut him down for the year. You're probably not competing for the division. And listen, if you want to, then go trade for Kirk Cousins. Because Kirk Cousins on that.
Kirk Cousins already said that he is not waiving his no trade clause, that he will remain in the Vikings uniform for the rest of the year.
That's sad. I'd like to see him go to somewhere where he can make a push and not Minnesota.
I don't understand it either.
Whatever he wants to do. So maybe with him saying he's not going anywhere, maybe that's better news that Justin Jefferson might actually come back and try to score some touchdowns for my fantasy team later on in this year in the multiple leagues that I have him in.
I think that
sad news about AR.
I think the Vikings, depending on where they end up at the year, I don't know. You could see that as trade bait to try to get Caleb Williams. That's why I think this year's number 1 overall pick is even more important than last year's number 1 overall pick. So speaking of which, Caleb Williams, the prodigal quarterback son of the future of the NFL. Everybody's clamoring. He's better than Lawrence. He's better than Burrow. He's better than Brady. He's better than Josh Allen. He's better than any human that has walked. As a matter of fact, he might actually walk on water while scrambling to throw the perfect touchdown pass in the end zone. Yes, I'm talking about that Caleb Williams from USC, the most overhyped and over-mediated, I'll say, person I've ever seen in my life, has come out and said he wants partial ownership of whatever NFL team drafts him. I got just a few sentences for you here, Caleb Williams. You are fucking crazy. Okay? We've talked about this numerous times about the number 1 pick and the relevancy and, drafting quarterbacks, especially in the top 5, how many of them have actually worked out. You've got Aaron Rodgers that is probably going down as the top 3 quarterback, top 5 probably, we'll say that just to be safe, to ever play the game, who went over to the New York Jets, and it was just released a while ago that he wanted a partial ownership stake in there, and he did not get it. But yet this kid, who's already come out and said, I can make more money by staying in college than being drafted, has already proven that he is more about the money than the game, which I'm not saying that that's a problem, but I would think as an NFL owner that might be. But now you come out and say, I want a piece of ownership just to be drafted. Bro, you might have all of the intangible skill sets that the world has never seen, but you are not proven in the NFL, and the NFL can humble you faster than anything that you've ever seen. As a matter of fact, I watched your last game when you threw 3 interceptions in a Pac-12 game, okay? This is NFL talent, bro. You need to check yourself. You need to check your family or whoever's making these comments about this is what you deserve. Get in there, prove yourself. and then go for that. Let's just talk about Patrick Mahomes, who has been one of the most prolific quarterbacks to ever enter the NFL in his first 4 to 5 seasons. 2 Super Bowls, went to the AFC Championship every year, does not have an ownership stake in his contract. Check yourself, homie. Your head is getting a little too big. And this is my biggest problem with everything that we've talked about as far as Caleb Williams. The media crowning him as the next golden boy, the social media, everything. Put the crown on him. He's King James Jr., King Williams, coming into the NFL. Everybody, check yourself. Until you've proven yourself in the NFL, you are just another number. And this to me is probably one of the most egregious things that I've ever heard in my life. If the Chicago Bears even think of taking this kid, I don't know what I'm going to say, because of course if he puts a Bears uniform on, obviously I'm going to root for him. But I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. And this is Bo Callahan all over again. Bo Callahan all over again. This is just this is asinine. How do you?
I don't mind people trying to go get the bag, but it hasn't been a good look for Caleb so far. And look, coming off of a Heisman, coming off of, transferring from Oklahoma to USC to be with Lincoln Riley, which was, a great move, win the Heisman Trophy. But now you're coming off 3 picks. Looks like you guys might lose 4 or 5 games this year. Just looking at your schedule, looking at the way that things shake up. Yeah, it's not a great look, and it just comes off as selfish. And listen, I'll let the NFL guys get into how much of a leader or whatnot.
Exactly, prove yourself first, right? That's all I'm saying. I mean, again, I just think you look at the percentage of quarterbacks that actually make it in this NFL, right? Look at the percentages of quarterbacks that actually become successful Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, because that's what we measure it on, right? Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. It's fucking minuscule. And for somebody to come out of college and say, I want part ownership before I even... Dude, that is the most asinine thing I think
I agree.
I've ever heard.
You can't do that, but you can always ask, right? I mean, what at the end of the day, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say no, and then you're right back to where you were before.
I think at the end of the day, when you do stuff like this, right? So you've already come out, whether it's confirmed or not. There's already rumors coming out saying that you're not going to play for certain teams. There's only 5 teams that I will play for if I get drafted. Reports also coming out, I can just stay in college and make more money than being drafted. And then now you put this on top of it. These are absolutely intangibles that NFL scouts, NFL GMs, everyone takes in consideration. Are you going to be bought into the team, or are you bought into Caleb Williams and Caleb Williams only? And when you have these types of reports, and when there's smoke, there's fire, this is a raging forest fire at this point. Now, I know that there's some GMs out there that don't give a shit, that would be, cut off their left nut just for the opportunity. But there's a lot of GMs, you even think about Ryan Poles, whatever you think about Ryan Poles, whatever. He passed on Jalen Carter because of something in his personal life, in his personal demeanor, and the way that he took accountability for things. I mean, that was just one of the things. Now, regardless of what you want to say about him passing, was it the right thing to do? It doesn't really matter. It happened. And that does happen in the draft. And you look, perfect examples, Bo Callahan and draft day, bro. Bo Callahan.
Jalen Carter is going to win defensive player or defensive rookie of the year this year.
He could, absolutely. Well, I don't know about that doubt, but I mean, he does look like a prolific thing. But all I'm trying to say is personal things and the aspect of how you're perceived by your peers and everything else does play a part in it. Now, regardless if Caleb Williams goes out and wins the Super Bowl the first year, then you look like an idiot, I guess. I don't know. But, I mean, there's plenty of winning teams that probably aren't all on board with all of their star players. I don't know. I just think it's a terribly egregious bad look. I think that it's one thing that's going to continue to haunt him. Because let's be honest, you just said it, coming off a 3-pick game, and this is off a Pac-12 game, as you said, the rest of the schedule doesn't look very good for him either. Yeah, you won a Heisman. Okay, I'll say it again. Out of the beautiful history of the Heisman Trophy and quarterbacks won them, how many have gone on to be Super Bowl winning quarterbacks? And that's all that matters in the NFL. Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Can you name number 1 picks to win the Super Bowl? The only one I can probably think off the top of my head is Peyton Manning. Eli Manning was
John Elway.
Eli Manning was number 1 pick, but he had he threw the baby tantrum and did not go to the Chargers. The Chargers ended up trading him to the Giants, and I think that's how they got Phillip Rivers, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah,
John Elway, right? John Elway, number 1 pick, won a Super Bowl.
No John Elway.
John Elway was not a number 1 pick.
He is saying Matt Stafford, who just won.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, and I don't know whatever. Oh, is that last one supposed to be Elway? I have in the executive chat. I have Eleanor, I have Leg, and then I have Elway.
What are you doing?
So I do believe it was LA. So you think about that of the entire history of the Heisman, you have four quarterbacks that have won a Super Bowl. That's not very good odds. But anyway, I digress.
Well, okay, so we've said there's generational talents that are absolutely unbelievable that in my lifetime have been can't miss prospects, right? Which is John Elway, which is Peyton Manning, which is Andrew Luck, which is Trevor Lawrence, and now which is Caleb Williams, right? Like that's we've said this before. So you're telling me one retired really early, right? Luck, he's an outlier. The other two have won a Super Bowl. One is actively in his third year.
We're gonna ignore the Jamarcus Russells. We're gonna ignore the Ryan Leafs.
I'm not talking. You're talking about an entirety of number 1 picks. I'm talking about generational talents.
You're telling me Ryan Leaf, when Ryan Leaf was drafted, he wasn't dubbed as a generational talent, one of the best prospects ever?
I was never a big Ryan Leaf fan. I mean,
well, I'm not talking about you and your expert opinion. I'm talking about the overall consensus of the media and NFL experts.
Yeah, I mean the media hypes up a lot of people.
Okay.
Listen, Jared Goff might win a Super Bowl this year too. You know?
Was he considered a generational talent?
No, but he is the number 1 pick.
Well, you're doing two separate arguments here. You're talking about
you're doing.
No, you're talking about generational talent versus the number 1 pick.
Guys, I mentioned 5 guys. I said 2 of them have won Super Bowls. One of them retired early.
Well, you picked all of the ones that won Super Bowls. What about the rest of them?
I didn't pick all the ones that won Super Bowls. What are you talking about? I've said the same 5 guys for the past 6 months since we've been doing this show.
I don't agree, but okay. I digress. Anyway, we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens, but I think we can both agree. We don't mind going for the bag, but it's just not a good look. It's not a good look. You need to prove yourself in the NFL. Get off the rookie contract first. How about that? Get out of your rookie contract, then we'll talk about.
We'll see what his rookie contract is.
It's locked into a certain number. It's not like he can, it's based on the where his pick is. So I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. Speaking of NFL and questionable decisions, the NFL has come out and said that they are looking to play a game in Spain or Brazil in 2024. Mm-hmm. Now, before we get into the fact taking away from home teams and from America, I just have some questions here because Spain, I don't know much about hosting big events or anything of that nature. I don't even know if Spain has an NFL following, especially with Brazil as well. I think it's more of, football, over there versus American football. But all I can think about when I think of Brazil and major events is the Olympics. And, putting something over there, I understand that the NFL is trying to expand its reach, but are these areas, in your opinion, Jeff, that want American football in there? And is it right for American football to go into these countries in 2024?
Absolutely. When you say all you think about is the Olympics, what do you mean?
Well, as we all saw from the Olympics, there was a lot of shady shit that happened in there. We talked about the infrastructure from Brazil, the structures that weren't built right. You didn't see any of this? I've talked about the muggings, the other extracurricular illegal activities that happen surrounding all of these events to the point where
what? Crime was way down during the Olympics in Brazil.
I did not see that. I saw kidnappings. I saw muggings. I saw rapes. This is what I saw. So maybe my news outlet is incorrect.
So this is 7 years ago, correct? Mm-hmm. When they had the Olympics. Mm-hmm. And you're saying 7 years ago, you saw that during the Olympics, there was rapes, There was
Yeah.
kidnappings, there was muggings, that it was just riddled with crime.
That's what I remember from this, correct? But
You
I'm
remember it
going to
incorrectly.
bring it up right now.
Okay. So I can tell you, and this I'm still I'm still blocked by Darren Ravel on Twitter because of this. Because Darren Ravel, goes right back to the Ryan Lochte thing. When it came to Brazil wanted to make sure that everything that happened in and around that area was as safe as possible because they knew they were on the world stage. They literally brought in like 85,000 extra, cops or whatever, just to make sure that everything
I will agree with that.
Was safe and that there was nothing during the Olympics. Now, you can say after the Olympics, there was a lot of bad shit that happened. Absolutely. Because it became the wild, wild West. Just like during the World Cup, when you had tons of people who went there for the World Cup to watch the World Cup, some of those people just didn't leave. They were like, we're just not leaving. We're just going to stay in Brazil. Listen, this is a very nuanced thing right now. Crime is way up in Brazil. Things are not great over there because of the leadership of the new presidency and different such things. So, yeah, I think it'd be a tough look in Brazil. Now, do I think Brazil could probably do the same thing and just bring in a bunch of troops and make sure that it's as safe as possible for those 5 days? Of course they could. Wouldn't be an issue whatsoever. You can go to Rio and play a Maracanã, right? You can go have an amazing week in Brazil. And the thing about Brazil is that they really don't want to fuck with tourists. Like, Rio and their revenue is generated by a lot of tourists coming there. Now,
Rio, yeah.
If you're an idiot and you're gonna go, buy a hooker, then you're probably gonna get robbed for sure. Just
is that what happened to Ryan Lochte?
No, Ryan Lochte's a liar and a piece of shit.
Ooh.
He did. He completely fabricated the entire story because they were in the wrong. You can look that story up. That's why I'm
actually reading it right now.
Yeah, that's why he got pulled off of a plane. And that's why Brazil was so pissed when that happened, is because through that, there was no stories. Everything was fine. And then all of a sudden, some U.S. swimmer, some entitled piece of shit comes out and says that because he was in the wrong, that he was held up at gunpoint by thugs, when it's like, no, homie, like the police, they're called the police. Okay. They were the ones holding you there. So yeah, that was a huge thing. And that's also why they fought the Ryan Lochte thing so hard. And they did press it to a point where they probably didn't need to, pulling him off the plane, making him go appear in front of a judge, like that whole thing for sure. And I went back and forth with Darren Ravel on Twitter about it. And what got me blocked was I told Darren Ravel he should probably go back to periscoping ballpark food because he's much better at it than talking about geopolitics. And so, yeah, I got blocked and I'm still blocked.
I did see the article. You're absolutely right. And maybe this is, as I'm looking through here, street attacks and murder surges, authorities in Rio lose control. While crime rates rising before Olympics, Brazilians are looking to ways to reduce it going into it. I did see where they brought in 85,000 troops. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, in order to do that. So let me ask you this question, though.
Yeah.
We all know that anywhere you go, any country, America, Chicago. Let's just take Chicago for an example. You go have a great time in Chicago, but there's bad parts of Chicago that you just don't go to. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen. And I do understand that, right? I do understand that. But also, in a lot of times when they're building these parks, even Orlando as well. Orlando, the Camping World Stadium is not in the best part of Orlando. Now, I don't think that we have the same crime rate as Chicago or anything of that nature, but then you look at the White Sox, right? Where the White Sox Stadium is on the south side of Chicago. That is not an area that you want to be in. But usually when they go to build these types of stadiums or stuff like that, it's in those areas. Why? Because that's where they get the land for basically free so they can build their infrastructure. So I guess my question would be on this is, do we know where these games would be played in Brazil?
They're going to play them at stadiums that are already built. They're going to play them at Maracanã probably.
Is that where the soccer team plays? Yes, I'm saying soccer.
Yeah, it's where the World Cup final was. In Spain, it'll be the same thing. They'll play at, one of the places where, either Real Madrid plays or Barcelona plays or something like that. It'll be in like a huge stadium. It'll be the same thing they do in England,
Well,
exactly.
maybe this could be a stance for the
infrastructure's already there. You know what I mean? Like it's already there. So.
Maybe this could be the stance that the uninformed takes to help Brazil clear the stigma, because when you go on the internet, the first thing that you
Yeah.
look at as soon as you do Brazil, it's crime, 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 crime. I mean, that's just all
let
it is.
me-
So maybe this is something that we can do as the uninformed fan, as Jeff, who has ties to the area, can help clear the air to make
I've been
people
many
feel
times.
safe.
Yeah, and listen, I just let me just say this too, right? Like the people who run the favelas and different stuff like that, the mobsters, okay, they are legitimate owners of businesses and stuff. Yes, they are shady as fuck. They kill people, they kidnap people. There are situations, right?
It's like
But
American
when
politicians.
when you drive into a favela in Brazil, there's an infamous story that my mother-in-law told me one time that she was in the car with my at the time Noah, who's 10 now, but Noah was like 2.5, 3 years old, and they were going to a party somewhere, and the cab driver accidentally made a wrong turn and pulled into a favela. And what you have to do is the cab driver immediately lowered all the windows and turned the lights on inside the car, so that the dudes who are sitting up on top, because favelas are all built on mountains, they're all man-made. So the dudes who are sitting on top, who have scopes pointed at whatever car that is, making sure that they're not about to get attacked, can see that it's a lady and a child inside the car, and that, okay, you can pass through without free. But what I'm saying about that is that the people who run these things, they're legitimate owners, right? They want their businesses in locations of tourism to still do well. They don't want people to feel unsafe, because that's bad business for them.
Well, I think that's going to be the
You know
biggest
what I
question
mean?
that I have
Like-
going forward is the Brazil, and even those spots that they have it. As we've talked about, there's good
if
spots.
you're rich, you're safe.
If you're rich, you're safe. That's pretty much everywhere. Whatever area is it in, is it going to be an area where, people that come to the game, because let's be honest, there's going to be people that travel there to your country, that Americans, whatever, to come to look at the game. Is that going to be an area that, what we can go out and explore in, or are we going to be confined to a certain area? Those are the types of questions that I have. And the 3-time has just come in and says Madrid is actually favored to land the game here. And
Yeah, cool. So
I'll say the same thing over there. I don't know what's over there. I mean, and I would think at
Yeah,
that
so-
point you're probably going to have less people from America travel over there, because now we're going completely over the pond.
And listen, I'm not trying to sugarcoat this. Like, Rio right now is not great. It's not very safe. There's a lot of crime still. It's pretty tough. So right now, compared to where it was 7 years ago, is not the same. 7 years ago, it was much safer than what it is now. That being said, when you go to Rio, there's just certain things, like if you travel internationally, that you don't do. You're not wearing a watch. You're not all over your phone. You're not flashing a bunch of money everywhere. You're bringing enough cash to cover you for whatever you have to do for that night, and that's it. So it's just about being smart and like understanding your surroundings. If a kid with no shirt on and sandals and board shorts walks up and asks you if you have any money, don't pull out money to give to him, because there are 4 other kids around the corner watching exactly what's going on, ready to jump on you as soon as you walk away. Of course. And listen, there are some of the worst spots that I've been to in Rio are not comfortable. And you know what we did? We got there, we took the picture on the same steps that Snoop was in the video on, and we immediately turned around and left. That's it, like.
I don't. What Snoop video are you talking about?
Beautiful. I just want you to know you're my favorite girl. No,
I'm
when
vibing.
You know what I'm talking about, when he's sitting on the steps and he's like,
I have no idea what you're talking
about. Oh God, I'll send it to you.
I'll look.
But
It's kind of like when the Joker came out, right? And the Joker was dancing on those steps in the Bronx or wherever it was, and then all the tourists wanted to go there, and everybody's like, "Hey, don't go there. You're gonna get mugged." And that's exactly what happened. Is a lot of people just got mugged.
Oh, bro! Like, we showed up, there was literally cops with ARs walking around everywhere. There's people sleeping in the streets everywhere. It's just like zombie,
just like California, but without the guns, I guess.
Cool. We're gonna take the picture. We're out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I've never seen that picture. Was it released to the media?
If you wanna go to Brazil, let me know.
Definitely. If you're looking to go to Brazil, make sure that you email us at the Uninformed Fan. Questions at the Uninformed Fan. Jeff will be your local tour guide here, and he will drive you to all of the right areas. Not personally, but he will make sure that you stay in the area that you need to stay in to have a safe visit.
I've driven to Brazil.
I don't know. So let's talk a little bit here. I don't know how long we have on the boys. Waiting on Jay to give me an ETA here. Let's go ahead.
Do some look aheads.
Sure. What lines are you looking ahead for this week, Jeffrey? What's standing out to you as far as Sunday NFL action?
Or would you rather talk about how MLB has just been absolutely ran through by two teams right now who are on a crash course for the World Series?
I think we can do both probably. I have no ETA yet, so.
Okay. I mean, listen, from my perspective right now, the way that it's rolling in MLB, it looks like a juggernaut in terms of both these teams, and obviously Houston winning 2 on the road, or I'm sorry, Texas winning two on the road in Houston. And then now coming back home, it looks like, and I don't know if Scherzer's going to end up throwing or not. I feel like he might be a bullpen. I feel like at this point, do you let him rest another week? If you think you got this series in the bag?
Max Scherzer is slated to start this evening.
Is he really?
Yep. We have Scherzer versus Javier.
Oh my God, Scherzer back at home, first game back in like a month and a half, and he gets the ball in Game 3 at home, up 2-0. Dude, that little weird-eyed man is going to just ball tonight.
He might have both eyes turn blue by the end of the game.
Scherzer in postseason is just different, bro. He's so lost.
He's like the opposite of Clayton Kershaw, right?
It's insane, dude. He's so good in the postseason, so good.
You got Clayton Kershaw that's awesome during the preseason, absolutely dog shit in the postseason. And then you have Scherzer, who has, during the regular season, Scherzer's games are either absolutely lights out or he gets blown up. But the blown ups are actually very minuscule. But when he gets in the postseason, man, those eyeballs, they focus in. They're like laser beams. He is placing that ball wherever. And he is fired up, man. I love to see the intensity out of him every time he steps on the mound.
Dude, it makes me happy to watch Max Scherzer. And this is somebody who had to face him and hated facing him. But it was the same thing with Trevor Bauer. Like, I hated facing Trevor Bauer, but I love the passion and the swag that Trevor Bauer played with. It was refreshing in baseball. So yeah, that's going to be a tough one for the Astros. And
Jeremy brought up a cool moment that was on the broadcasting. Jeter was like, I'm not worried about Houston being down 0-2. I remember being up 3-0 and losing. And Big Papi goes, "Wait, you did? You lost that? Really? Oh." It was a pretty cool moment on the set there. It's amazing to me that you got A-Rod, who is possibly one of the most hated players in baseball, is now on like everything. He's like the face of broadcasting. And then you got Big Papi and Jeter, who obviously just despised each other while they were playing on two separate teams, and now they're all one big cohesive unit. It's kind of funny to me.
I think there's definitely a sense of respect there between.
Of course.
So it's just, it is what it is. But then the other series, man, the Phillies, right?
God,
it's just
Schwarber slam, baby.
I was getting roasted. I was getting roasted the other day by these Phillies fans, and they were just going in on me, and I'm snapping back on them, and we're going back and forth. And then finally at the end of it, I just turn and I go, man, CB is a different place to play, bro. Like Citizen Bank Park during the postseason in October is nowhere that you want to be as an opposing team.
No,
it is. It's
tough.
And
when they went back to back to start the game, I was like, wait, was it this game or I think it was the previous game they went back to back. Schwarber homers on the first pitch.
Schwarber homered on the first pitch, and then Harper homered like 2 batters later or something.
I thought he was like right after him. But yeah, it was just, it's just, how do you count how many home runs? But it is nice to see Mr. Schwarber out there, man. He's my boy, and I'd like to see him do well. I just wish it wasn't with the
He's
Phillies.
Lovable. Schwarber's always lovable. Listen, look at headlines real quick, just kind of what I'm feeling. The Bears are circled still.
No, they're not.
I can't not circle them.
That would be your personal.
Cleveland -2 against Indianapolis looks like a trap game to me. I just don't love that line. It stinks to high heavens. It just, ugh. And it's -2, -105. It's like money steaming in on Indianapolis right now. I don't know. Baltimore, Detroit. Detroit coming off of a huge win on the road. Now they're going to Baltimore. Here's the thing. I still have this stat in my head about it being 12-1 of teams that came back from England with no bye, being trailing or being down in the fourth quarter. And so I don't know. It just makes me lean Detroit +3, but I haven't got a good read on it. Listen, seeing New England +8.5 at home would automatically give me that all day. But I've watched New England enough. Absolutely not. They're not stopping Buffalo. Josh Allen is going to have a field day. Yeah,
The Patriots, I mean, my
Buffalo
God.
by 2 touchdowns, right? Like Buffalo by 2 touchdowns, and it's not even going to
Maybe
be that
by
close.
3.
Like maybe by 3. Well,
It just depends on when they take the foot off the gas.
And I don't know. Do they?
I wouldn't.
Do they take the foot off the gas?
After all the shit that you've dealt with of the New England Patriots over the years, I would want to, just dig that grave as deep as I can for Belichick. Put him out of his misery. Put him out of the league. Embarrass him the shit at home. You know what would be, I think would be a great thing for the Buffalo Bills is to have the New England crowd booing Belichick while you're playing that game. We haven't seen a whole lot of boo birds out of the New England fans over the years. I want to hear some boo birds. I want to hear that fan base completely giving up on the franchise the way that the franchise has given up on the fans.
And the way that Belichick's girlfriend gave up on him. Okay, so I'm going to skip the New York Giants and Washington Commanders because I don't care. And nobody.
I'll tell you one thing that we'll talk about here because I know we're on opposite sides here. So Miami Dolphins and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles at home -2.5 against the Dolphins.
-2.
It's 2.5 on the score app. That's all I'm bringing up. To me, this just seems like a game that the Miami Dolphins run, and then probably. And then I know Jeff really likes the Eagles here.
I do. I like the Eagles. They're coming off of a loss against the Jets that was terrible. They look terrible. But listen, the thing I like about the Eagles, they can get pressure before on Tua and drop everybody else back. Jalen Carter's back. Looks like Slay will be back. To me, it seems like a no-brainer to me. Same thing that Buffalo was able to do. So yeah, I don't know. I do really like the Eagles here.
We'll see.
So we'll have to debate that and get there. Also, this Packers Broncos game is interesting to me, right? Packers favored, money steamed in on the Broncos. I don't know how anybody can bet Denver right now, but they almost covered last week.
I will tell you this: I feel like Denver is on a better trajectory than the Packers at the moment. I know that that's going to be a hot take.
Your haterade. You have some haterade in you.
I don't. I just feel.
You do.
I feel like the Denver Broncos team on paper is better than the Packers. I just do.
I mean, how? Aaron Jones coming back. Green Bay has a better roster.
Aaron Jones has. What has Aaron Jones done to start this year?
Jerry Jeudy is just a guy. He stinks. So
okay, hold on. Before we get to these boys, because I definitely want to bring these boys in. What has Aaron Jones done this year that proves that he's an elite back?
He played one game. They put him on a pitch count the next game, and they are 2 weeks later. Then they set him the next. So
nothing, right?
He hasn't done anything.
Great, thank you.
Are you just saying that because what he did to the Bears?
He did ball out against Chicago.
Everyone balls out against Chicago. Who gives a fuck?
Well, also
not Washington.
Okay, the boys are obviously in the room and here to talk. So let's talk about something else other than the Bears. I will turn it over to Jeff and the boys.
The Bears, real quick too. I do as much as I hate Brandon Staley, I do like the 5.5 that you're catching on the Chargers and Chiefs. Chiefs just don't look right. But listen, we'll break this down. We'll get a little bit more, some more numbers to back it up for you on Friday. Boys, welcome in. Gap Wedge Wednesday, Paulie Par Putts, Country Club Chad. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Paul. How's it going?
Fantastic.
Really?
I thought Paul was out in the sticks. We're in Japan this week. Jeez.
We're in Japan this week. Japan. We're gonna have a lot of Kims and Woos and
whoa.
What is that?
I don't know if you
can I not say that?
No, it's fine.
I don't know.
I mean, it's your podcast. You do whatever you want.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you're just here. You're just so I'll take all the heat for that. Anyway, speaking of Kims and Woos, obviously, Shriners Children's Open. Tom Kim with the win. What do we think about the weekend, boys?
Well, it was what we thought it was. And Tom Kim,
so
let us off
review. if you tuned in with 12 minutes and 30 seconds left in the podcast last week,
yes,
the first thing Chad said was, our model has JJ Spawn, JT Poston, Tom Kim, and what did this say? My notes are a little scribbly here.
Was it Svensson?
Adam Svensson. That's right. And then if you stop listening immediately after that,
Then you would have made money.
you had first place, third place, 18th, and 46th. You throw two other jamokes in that DraftKings or FanDuel lineup, you're making some money. You did great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we stuck some flags in the ground and said some things. It's all right.
Listen, we're on to the Zozo Championship. Congratulations to Tom Kim. Becoming the youngest 3-time PGA Tour title winner since Tiger Woods. So
Heard of him.
Heard of that guy. Pretty good.
Yeah.
We're on to the Zozo. Paul, what do we got? We're looking at the Zozo Championship out here in Chiba, Japan. Is that how you say it? Chiba. Not the Chiba I'm used to. Paul, what do we
Chiba, Japan.
What are we working with this week?
On paper, it is a short par 70, but it's an unusual 70. It's got 5 par 3s, all under 200 yards. It's got 3 par 5s. And then the 10 par 4s are made up of 5 longer ones and 5 shorter ones. Japan, because they love golf. They have a lot of their great courses over there have 2 sets of greens. This is a combo course, so you're going to get, of the 36 holes they have on property, they're doing a composite. But it's that same makeup that they've played the Zozo in the past. And you're going to have 2 sets of greens to play on. So some days it's going to be, it's possible that they play some as bent and some as Bermuda. So you're not looking at green specialists as far as grass. But the guys that we've seen win over there.
Green specialist as smoke, or then
Green specialists in Chiba,
It
like
feels like
it all makes sense.
Feels
now.
like we're getting stuck in a rut here, but somebody's melting into a couch as we speak.
No, that's an edible.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. We're looking at the guys who have won here at this course. Tiger Woods, the aforementioned Tiger Woods, pretty good at golf. Hideki Matsuyama, Masters winner, and Keegan Bradley. If you look at past champions and you see Patrick Cantlay on the list, he won in Sherwood, California during the COVID year. So don't take that into account as far as course history. Best player in the field is probably Xander Schauffele as far as world ranking and what it looks like in the model. His number is short, 7-1, little short from me. Even in a 78-player field, no-cut event, I'm not going to go there. A number that started around 20 and immediately got chopped in half, and then is looking at, last I looked, it was 8-1, is Sanjay M. That's a guy the entire industry is on. So if I had to bet one guy, it would probably be him. I don't have to bet one guy, so we'll talk a little after Chad tells us what we're looking for. A couple other guys that might have value.
Chatty Daddy, what do we like?
Whoa. So as Paul was saying, the winners of this course are Tiger, Hideki, Keegan. If you know those names, comp course would be Augusta. 2 of those guys have won Augusta, won multiple times. Keegan's played well at Augusta. I'm going to call this the Asian Masters just because of our comp course, what we're looking at and what needs to be done here. Good approach play, proximity, because you want to be on the right spots for the greens, because you need to be in the right spot. That way you're able to have a chance at birdies, and you want to make sure you are avoiding the big number. So and it's very tree lined, and you want to keep it out of the trees so you have a shot at making good numbers and not just blown it. So
Breaking news here: golf is easier when you're not in the trees.
Like, yeah, don't hit it in the trees.
If only
Yep.
I would have known that.
Simple game.
Don't
Simple
hit it.
game.
Don't hit it in the trees, guys.
I thought you were supposed to be like I thought pros kept it out of the trees. We kept it in the trees and then tried to play out of it. I thought that's
I'm
what
not
we were
doing
supposed to
any of
do.
that.
Oh, well, I'm gonna have to change my game up then.
Anybody you like that fits that model, Chatty Daddy?
I'm gonna be looking at Hideki to do a two-time winner, the first two-time winner of the Zozo.
Ooh, okay.
He's played her 3 times. He's got a first, a second, and then I think last year he took the week off. But yeah, I'm gonna at the top of the board. I'm gonna be looking at Hideki. I think he's 15-1. So that's the thing. Like it's only a 78 person field, so you're not gonna get great numbers this week, but there are some values you can find. And at the top, I'm gonna be looking at Hideki because, like Paul was talking about, Xander, the best player in the field at 7-1. That's just ludicrous. Sung Jae, he is a great soft course because it's been raining a lot over there. So as Paul was saying, that Sung Jae has got bet down because he's a great soft course player, just like just pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah, his irons are ridiculous,
yeah.
right? Like,
so yeah, so they're looking at him like with just sticking, like throwing darts, just sticking them right by the pin and not a lot of rollout because they're going to be so soft. So a lot of people are betting him, but at 8-1, I can't back Sung Jae at 8-1, no matter how. Like if it was him and Xander, then I would take him at 8-1 because Xander, what he showed me at the Ryder Cup is he sucks right now. So but that'd be my guy at the top of the board, Hideki.
heard. Paul, anybody you like this week we're looking at?
Yeah, so another thing about, we've mentioned the Masters more than once. So if you're looking in the field, guys who have won a green jacket, Adam Scott is a guy who's won a green jacket. Now, I've heard a lot of chatter about him, a lot of form, fitting models well, but we're looking at those 5 par 3s, all under 200 yards, and his stats in the last 4, 8, and 12 rounds get him in the bottom 10% of the field. It's even worse than that. He's 67, 73, 72, 75, 75, 75. That's over. He doesn't play par 3s from 175 to 200 yards very well. I'm going to avoid Adam Scott. So go ahead and put his name on the trophy. But yeah, I think we're looking at guys who mentioned him last week. He actually did okay. Chad did not like him, but I pulled him up from the wreckage. Cam Davis. It's a sneaky longer course because those par 3s are short. And there's 3 par 5s on a par 70. You do have those longer par 4s, which he plays well. And then he's in decent form, and at 25 or 28-1, depending on where you look, I think it's a decent value. Another guy, I'll let Chad mention him, but another guy that we're seeing that kind of also fits this mold. Sam Ryder. We've mentioned him. If you're looking for some value, he's 7,000 on DraftKings. I'm not sure he's gonna take the title, but guy who's been playing pretty well lately, and plays these par 3s of this distance pretty well. I think Chad's gonna mention one guy, and then maybe we'll tie a bow on this.
Cool. Chad, anybody you got you like as a long shot? And besides, obviously, Kurt Kitayama, who I think is my what about this week?
I mean, just because he sounds Asian and he looks Asian doesn't mean he's Asian.
He's from
But
California.
anyway, yeah, I know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, another California guy that I actually want to bring up that plays well in Japan is Cameron Champ.
Really?
I never thought I'd wrap my head around this, but this guy, he just loves Japan. I don't know what it is. Just seeing it. He's always played well out there.
I probably know what it is.
Before, yeah, okay. Anyway, but we're not gonna get that. But yeah, like he played in the Japan tour. He played very well out there. They got him, where he's moving along up into the PGA.
Okay.
Last year he was 8th. So, and actually he's kind of in form this year. So last year I think he missed 3 or 4 cuts before, went to Japan, finished 8th, and then like missed 4 or 5 cuts after that. Like there's only good tournament of 2 months. So he likes it out there as a horse for course kind of guy. So I'm gonna jump on Cam Champ at 50 to 1. Another guy, Tom Hogue. He's played out there twice. He's had 2 top 20s. One of them was a top 10. He didn't play very well last week, but I feel like a field like this, it's not a great field. So someone who has good course history, I'm gonna back the horses for courses style this week and just hope for the best. And if we're looking for a couple of outsiders that people wouldn't know a lot about, I'm gonna back a couple of Asians. Ryo Hisatsumi.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. He won a few weeks ago. He's played here. Well, he got a top 20 last year. And then Kita Nakajima, two of his last 3 events, he was top 10. And he also had a top 20 here last year. So, and both of them are like 60, 66 to 1, something like that. So you can get good value on them, and then maybe get a top 10 or top 20 on them and cover your bet, And then another guy that we love to talk about because he looks like Baby Huey, Bo Hostler. I don't know why. I'm gonna try with the Koreans in Texas always play well, so I'm gonna try a Texan in Japan.
Right.
See if it correlates.
Some whataboutism where you got there.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I just got this feeling like Bo Hostler. He shot a 62 last week to start the round and then just shit himself. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that, but I just have this funny feeling like he's gonna put it all together, and I don't want to. Paul, it's called a FOMO. I'm not gonna miss out on Baby Huey winning a tournament. So I think he's 40 to 1, 50 to 1, something like that. And a field like this seems like a kind of field like he would win, So I'm just going to throw it out there and see what happens. Those are my guys.
Love it. Paul, anything else you got for us?
Yeah, Hostler shows up in par 4 scoring. He's in the top 5 from the last 50, 24, 12, 8, and 3 rounds. He's actually in the top 3 on par 4 scoring. So, and something that's going to be fairly important. He does show at the top of our model. I don't know how he travels. That guy seems like middle seat Southwest kind of dude. So
maybe
I don't.
He is tough. Baby Huey.
Callum Tarrant is another guy who is very good value. And then Alex Noren has been playing well recently. A guy you're gonna if you look search the Zozo on the X app, formerly Twitter, you'll probably see Minwoo Lee somewhere. If you're maybe fading the top 2 guys, Xander and Sanjay, Minwoo Lee has been playing very, very well recently. One thing about Sanjay is we haven't heard his name much stateside, but he played recently in the China Cup, I think it is. The Asian Cup. He and Siwoo Kim won a team event, to keep themselves out of military service.
Yes.
And
yeah,
then
I saw that.
yeah, so he
Were
doesn't
they
have
wearing
to
that?
worry
Were they
about
wearing the hats with the 3 dots on it?
probably.
All the Asians wear that hat. It's
Uh,
weird.
Yep, LPGA, PGA. If you're from Korea, you're probably wearing the hat with the thing.
The 3 colored dots, right? Like red,
That's
yellow, and blue, or something like that.
the company with quite a bit of money, I'm assuming.
I think they're probably
I mean,
doing okay for themselves.
Yeah,
It's not
they're
Saudi money, but
they're okay.
What is though?
Yeah,
you're
so,
right.
so I'm gonna say Karen. If you're looking for somebody at the top, Min Woo Lee.
Australian.
See.
Yes.
We'll see.
And then what did I say? There's 78 guys in the field. I'm not going to name 15 guys. So
Yeah, it's cool.
those would be the guys I'm saying.
All right, love it. Boys, thank you for stopping by. Hey, Chad, I think your Astros are dead in the water, homie.
We've been here before.
Yeah, but Scherzer
And then-
taking the mound, playing in
Hey,
Texas.
Weren't we looking pretty bad against Philly last year? And then Christian Javier came out and started a no-hitter. Who's going tonight? Oh, the guy that's only allowed 3 hits in 3 starts or something like that in the postseason. So I'm pretty sure your Braves are definitely dead in the water if you want to go that route. So
wow, we're really gonna.
I mean, you brought it up, not me.
That's fair. Congratulations to your Cowboys on a big win on Monday night.
Hey, you know what? Maybe if we get to play the 49ers again the way the Browns did, no, we still wouldn't have a chance. Sorry.
No. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Jim Schwartz is now like 9-3 against Shanahan as a coach. Pretty crazy. Anyway.
Yeah,
Jim Shorts.
Jim Schwartz defense.
Jim Shorts.
Yeah, Jim Schwartz.
Phys ed outfit.
Yeah.
Schwartz. My Schwartz is bigger than yours.
Boys, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here, taking your time to give us some winners. Look forward to.
I think what it is Dan Quinn feels sorry for Shanahan for that 28-3, so he always loses to him with his defense.
Could be.
Yeah,
Patriots. Patriots. Stay losing. Patriots.
Hey,
Patriots are terrible.
Hey, at least the Patriots have now scored more in October than the Red Sox, at least. So you got that going for you.
Do you know that we lost our winning week in Circa because we had the Patriots
because of a
3,
safety?
And Mac Jones took the safety to push it from 2 to 4. And me and Tyson are like, there's no way that just happened. Oh, God. Terrible. Oh, well. What are you going to do? Back to the drawing board.
Losing.
Back to the drawing board. All right, boys. Thank you so much.
This last week was pretty bad.
Tough week.
All right, guys.
We'll be better. All right. Thanks, boys. Later.
See you later.
Good luck.
Thank you. You too. Boom. Gap Wedge Wednesday. Appreciate you being here, boys. Thank you so much to Chad and Paul for giving us knowledge. Did you see this thing where the Hero Challenge coming up? Tiger Woods actually, too, left 1 spot for an exemption for another player. They announced the field for the Hero and left 1 spot open. And there's rumors, Tyson.
Phil?
There are rumors, whispers, shall we say, that Tiger might be the one to put himself in there.
I'm just going to say this, and maybe I'm completely off here, but to me, golf has never been more boring than it is right now. Maybe that's just me as a hot take. I don't know. As somebody that was heavily invested in golf back in the day, I don't know. Golf just, I don't know. To me, golf is probably one of the most, the state of golf, I should say. Not watching. The state of PGA golf right now, to me, is just, it feels like to me like there's like three players, and then that's kind of, when those 3 players are in there, then the rest, I don't know, but it's hump day, and we are about to go get our hump on with the NBA fantasy draft. Our Trinity League is going to have the NBA draft. I think this is going to be one of the funniest drafts that I've ever been a part of.
Nobody has any clue what they're doing. I mean, not to say that. There are people who have played NBA basketball, fantasy basketball before. And so Mark
will probably dominate this league. Mike will probably do pretty well. Buff and TJ will probably do pretty well. I
So
don't know
you're
if-
telling me that we're going to be relegated to
know.
our shithole spot as in every other fantasy sport that we're in?
This is just the path that we have chosen, and I don't know how.
I'm just
I don't
glad
know
that you know why. It's because you're with me. This is my fantasy fucking year every year. This is the same shit. I just maybe I mean I don't know. I'm not going to say that
what's
because
weird?
I am the general manager of the decade. So I'm not going to say it's me.
So I co-own a team with JC as well too in the Boathouse Little League, right? And it's the exact bro. Like we can't win. It's impossible. We won the Super Bowl the first year, right? And then the next year we came in last place. We got relegated down to the little division, and we're in the little division, and we're like tied for last place.
I love that relegation. I love that. I love that format of like European soccer. I think that's awesome. If you're just absolute
cool.
dog shit, you get into the dog shit league. But if you want to
Yeah,
hang
you
with the
gotta
big
go-
boys, I would be whatever's below the dog shit league. That's probably what league I would be in. But at least I felt like I had something to go for. I guess I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's gonna do it for us today, the Uninformed Fan. We'll be back Friday for Football Friday. We are going to break down the Thursday night football game. We're going to give a preview of all the action heading into NFL Sunday, as well as some key highlighted NCAA football games. Until then, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and stay the hell
Go
out of
Noles.
the left-hand lane.
Be great.